What's going on YouTube? I'm back, your movie guru, and this is a review I've been waiting a long time to make. If you guys have been watching my videos, you know this is something I've been very excited about. I just saw Avengers Endgame, and wow. At this point, having just seen it, it's even hard to gather all my emotions and talk about how I really feel about this film. Uh, So, for those of you who don't know, everyone should know at this point, but Avengers Endgame is the swan song to Marvel's entire first phase of movies. Uh, I don't know the exact number. I think it's over a dozen. I want to say 15 or 16 films. Not sure the exact number, but this is the conclusion to all those films, or this one big story arc that they're finally finishing. 10 years of films, uh, a long epic journey, and just to kind of preface what I believe a big monumental achievement this is this is something that you should appreciate even if you're not a fan of Marvel comics, even if you're not a fan of comic book movies or superhero movies. This is a great achievement just for the fact that this is, I'd say, quite possibly the most ambitious undertaking in cinema history, and quite frankly, in some respects, the history of art. If you're just talking about the amount of money involved, but you know, we've seen for a long time, a concept or an idea for a movie be successful, and then they make sequels off of that. We've seen it where sometimes if an idea is successful, they'll make a spin-off of that. The most recent example I can think of is, the Fast and Furious films. They've been successful. I think they've made 8 of them, and now they're even doing a spin-off with The Rock and Jason Statham. But before Avengers, no one before had really tried, especially not on this scale, to say, hey, we're going to have these separate characters, and then they're going to have their own films, and then we're going to join them up together for certain films, and we're going to have a plot character that's going to tie all these together, but you have to see all these films, years down the road to get the full scope of what we're planning. That's something that was reserved, for television. You'll see, in a season of a television show where through every episode it's building to a season finale or a series finale. This was not something that was done in film, and for many reasons. Not to bash on DC, but you can see it in DC. So many things can go wrong in the making of movies. It's really hard to overstate just how many things can go wrong. Just a few that we're seeing in DC right now. Their Superman is gone. Their Batman is gone. I'm talking about Henry Cavill, and his name escapes me right now. It's Ben Affleck. But so they're two very high profile characters. Now they're going to have to find a new person for Superman and a new person for Batman. And then their director, who, was supposed to helm most of these, Zack Snyder, then he's changed. So, I mean, so many things can go wrong when you're planning something like this. And it's a big reason why something like this was never even attempted, because of so many things that go wrong. The fact that Marvel was able to do this and do it as successfully as they have been, entering uncharted water and mostly been able to navigate it very well and been able to adjust when needed. Just as a short, for instance, the Hulk films, there was originally designed, there was going to be more, but they put the brakes on it, after they had the change from Edward Norton, and they were like, okay, this film didn't do as well. We're just going to include him in other people's films. We think that will work better. Uh, so that was, an example of some improvising on the fly that they had to do. Uh, and once again, like I said, not to bash on DC, but after Marvel set up this successful template, you see even DC, having seen somebody else do it and how they got it done, was still not able as of yet to successfully imitate it. So that just shows you another example of how difficult it is to do. So with that preface, that's why I say it's. I believe anyone who's a fan of cinema and a fan of art should be able to appreciate what these many films have done, and I very much applaud them for doing so. Uh, that said, I'm going to give you the rate now. I give the film an 8 out of 10. I think it was everything that a series finale type film needed to be. Uh, the one thing I would say that hit me the hardest was very emotional. Whereas I'd say that the first film that we saw last year, yeah, before Thanos, or I mean, when Thanos comes and makes his grand appearance and does what he does, uh, that film was all about nonstop action. It's saying this is what's we've been waiting this long to see this guy. Now we're going to see what he actually does. Whereas this film was okay. We're closing out this story arc, so we're going to resolve everything that's not resolved. We're going to let you see the characters. That you're been wanting to see these interactions. You've been wanting to see, certain things from them and how they respond to certain things, and you're finally going to see that. And we're going to once again invest these characters into you, and that's one thing I say that Marvel is very good at. It's very good at making you feel for the characters, vice the heroes, and so it gets you very emotionally invested in the films. And this film absolutely does that. It has a lot of action as well. It's not to say it doesn't have action, great action scenes. Uh, if there's one thing that's nagging me, and that's the plot. And I say, so I'm not going to do spoilers, but uh, the plot utilizes a device, and you'll know instantly when you see it that once you introduce this type of plot device, things can get real tricky very fast. So a lot of people, when this happens, they just hit the I believe button and say, I'm just going to go with what they said. Somehow it works. This is something I can see being endlessly debated on forums, on YouTube, on everywhere else. But the device that happens, I'll say it involves the timeline. I can see it being very much debated on, is this a plot hole? Does that make sense? Could that have happened? This doesn't make sense because, and I'm not trying to get nitpicky. I don't like it when people look at films and say, oh, this is everything that's wrong with this, or, this is a plot hole, this is a plot hole, this is a plot hole. I get sometimes you just have to hit the I believe button and understand it's a film. But I feel that in this movie they went a long way towards trying to make it make sense. And then there's a couple things that I think they did that made it fall short of that. So if I had to choose, something that, kind of bothered me and it's something that's going to stick with me, it would be that. And it's something that I would definitely look for again on repeat viewings, just to try and see if, pay a little bit closer attention and see if maybe there's something else that makes what I saw make sense. But like I said, that's all I have to say bad about it. You get to see all the characters. You get to see all the characters in action. It really is what you're waiting for, in terms of the closeout to a series. and it leaves the seeds for the next wave that's going to come. So, like I said, so once again, for those of you that are confused, when I say this is the end to Marvel's films, this is the end to this story arc. This is the end to what the last 10 years have been building for. They haven't outright stated what they're going to be doing next, but we already have seen the trailer for a new Spider-Man movie, so we already know that's in the works. He's going to be facing Mysterio. But as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we don't know exactly what it's going to entail going forward. But in this film, it definitely leaves a bit of clues as to where things are going to be going forward. Uh, I can say it is an emotional journey. Uh, I definitely will be signing up for the next round of films to see where this goes. Like I said, I think that they've done everything very well, and if you've been a fan of Marvel, if you've liked these movies, I think that you will really enjoy this one and be glad to see where they took it. And I don't mean to get too particular, but I think that you would be happy that they did so with, I want to say, reverence. Uh, they there was nothing flippant and or uh, something that was done without regard or any care to any character in this film. I think they understand that after 10 years, uh, the fan base is very emotionally invested in these characters, and we've put a lot into these movies. We put a lot of our time, we put a lot of our thoughts, and we really feel for the characters. And so I really think they took that to heart, and they made sure to the way the characters are portrayed and everything that occurs, you know, it's done for a purpose. It's there for a reason. There's something going on. There's a reason why that happened. It wasn't just happenstance. Uh, so that's my review. I don't want to just get too long. I could probably talk about this movie for another half hour. This is one that I'm especially would love to see you guys' comments. Let me know what you think. If you think they should have did it differently, if you think that uh, there were some things they should have added that they didn't add, if you think there's some things they left out, especially if you want to talk to me, about the timeline. That's something that I'm really interested in to hear what you guys think about that, because I have my own thoughts about it, and there's a couple, like I said, issues that I have with it. But I'm not going to spoil anything. But if you want to comment and let me know what you think, I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to talk with you guys. Once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Go out and see this movie in theaters. Uh, don't rob yourself of the experience of watching it, with a community of fellow fans who have been watching it for 10 years. You will appreciate having taken that journey with a lot of other people. That's all I've got to say. Thanks once again, guys. Take care.